Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to see CSS. CSS is the language we use to style a web page. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. That gives the style to the HTML elements. It describes for how the HTML element are to be displayed. For example, um, in a in a HTML element, for example, we are taking a paragraph element. Inside the paragraph tag, whatever the content we are given, no, we can style that content by CSS, by adding color to it, or else by adding font size, text align. By adding these things we can style our HTML elements. So this is what HTML is called. So next, CSS syntax. A CSS rule consists of a selector and a declaration block. Syntax is first, to give the syntax, first we need to select the HTML element. Then we have to provide the property and the value. So here here they have selected h1 as the selector. So first we will be selecting a HTML element, so they are selecting the h1. Then we have to provide a property and the value. So for this heading tag, we are providing a color as blue. Color is the what property, and whatever color we want to give, that is the value. So then font size is property, and whatever the value we want to give, whatever the size we want to give, that is the value. So this is what CSS syntax refers to. Then let's go with the CSS selector. A CSS selector selects the HTML element to style. So first let's go with the ID selector. Um, in, uh, so for ID selector, by adding ID is equal to, inside the quoted thing, we can add anything we want, para 1 or else class or else form, any word we want, we can add a ID for any ID, whatever the ID name can be, whatever we want we can give that ID name. And then this will be in the HTML file. This inside the whatever inside the p tag, no, that will be in the HTML file. And then in the CSS file, whatever the ID name we are given, before that we have to add this hashtag, the ID name, and inside the curly braces whatever we want to style, color, or else font size, text line, like that we can style. So for ID selector, this is how it will be. And for class selector, by adding class is inside the p tag, we will be adding a class, and the class name, whatever the class name we want, center, or else center, else para 1, like that, any class name we can give. And then this will be in the HTML file, and this will be in the CSS file. Dot and the class name, inside the curly braces, whatever we want to give, whatever style we want to give, we can style the HTML elements. So then let's go with the universal selector. So universal selector is, if we put this star, it will be applied for all the element in the HTML. Um, by adding the star and this calibration, inside that, for any text align is, if we have given the text align as center, means all the element in the HTML, it is applied for all the HTML element. Everything will be in the center, everything will be aligned in the center. So next, grouping selector. Grouping selector, actually it is this, if same style if you want the same style for the multiple elements, we will be giving this grouping selector. If for example, for h1, for h1 we want the same, we want the color as blue, and and the text align as right. Even for the same for h2 also, we want the color as blue, and text align as right. For even for p tag also the same means, by adding commas, what are the tags we want to be the same. By adding commas, uh, we can be giving styles. Then how to add css. There are three ways to insert css. One is external css, internal css, and inline css. So external css is you can have your file in separate, you can have your file in the separate file, and you can link that css file with the html file. We will be having a separate file. One is for html file and css file. By linking that, we can add style, uh, uh, we can add style for our html elements by in the separate file. We will be linking. So this is what called as external css. Internal css is in the html file itself. By adding style tag, we can provide our style inside the same file itself. By adding the style tag, we can give whatever the style we want. This is what called as internal css. Next, inline css. In the html in the html element itself, we can give our style. For example, heading tag. Inside the heading tag, we can give style, and style, it's equal to color, and whatever color we want. Or else text align. Inside the heading, inside the html element, by adding style, it's equal to color, and then what color we want. By this is what called as inline css. So uh, internal css and inline css are in the same file, but this internal css will be by separate element. By separate element, we will be adding our style, by adding style tag, and then we will be giving style. But for this, in the same html element itself, we will be adding a style. So next, let's go with css colors. Css colors. Okay, colors are specified using predefined color names, or else this rgb, hex, hsl values. um, so we can give, for colors we can give the name of the color itself, or else by adding these values, we can give, let me show you an example. Yes, this is what this RGB, this is the value. Whatever the value we want to give, we can give. 0 means 0, else any other else value we can give means we can give for this. For this 0 0.5, so 0 0.5 will be for this. So these are the values, color values. Next, CSS background. So CSS background properties are used to add the background effect for the element. So in this page itself, we have a background like this. Whatever background we want, we can add a background for the HTML elements. So next, CSS box model. So inside the box model, we will be having a content, padding, border, margin. So content, the content of the box where text and image appears. Inside the content, uh, inside the content of the box, whatever the text and the image will be appearing. In the padding means the area around the content. If this is the content means the area around the content, this space, this space, this space, this space, like that. So next, pad, this is what padding is called. The next, border, the border that goes around the padding and the content. uh, border is nothing but which goes around the content and the padding. The space between the space around the content is what called as padding. No, again around it, the padding and the content, whichever goes is called as border. Next, margin, that clears an area outside the border, which is outside the border is what called. For better understanding, let me show this image. This is content, padding is which is the space between the space outside the content. Border is which is outside the padding and the content. Margin is the outline of the outside the border is what margin. So next, at last, CSS outline. So CSS outline is a line that is drawn around the elements outside the border to make the elements stand out. So outside the border, we can add the outline around the border. So outline style, we can style our outline by like dotted outline, like that we can able to style our outline. Outline is a line that is drawn around the elements outside the border to make the elements stand out. So outline style, outline color, outline width, outline offset. So these are the uh, we can add a style for the outline, colors for the outline, like that. With we can give how the width of the outline should be, like that. We can add style colors with and offset for the outline. So thank you.